Alright, what do we have here? Why, it's Titan Souls. This is a game developed as part of Ludum Dare number 28. It's fairly short, fairly small, by a three-man team, but I really like it, so I kind of decided I'd show it off. Let's just pop up into a new game. There are a bunch of modes here that you only unlock once you beat it, but let's just pretend this is our first run through. Start out as this dude. Whoever he is. The game kind of just kicks us in, just like that. The world and art style as a whole is this really lovely pixel art. Quite nice. I brought up the specific Ludum Dare because the theme of that one was you only get one. So the gimmick to this game essentially is that that one bow, that one arrow that we have, that's all we got. As you can see, your arrow, whenever it hits things, it can bounce off and pick it up again. You can fire it. You can also roll out of the way with A, and if you hold the A button, you can even run a little bit faster than you would normally go. And that's really about it. The mechanics of the game are very simple, and really all the gameplay is really simple, but they managed to do quite a lot with that. So let's dive right in. Bunch of creepy eye doors here. Well, we know what to do with those. So, the general way that you've probably heard this game described is Dark Souls meets Shadows of the Colossus. And yeah, that's a pretty good way to say it, but I think that it really does have a lot of its own neat little touches. I'll hit this thing, I promise. There we go. Don't worry, I'm very good at this game. So, everything, all of the challenges in this game are boss fights. And it should be pretty obvious what we're trying to do here. Take out the sludge heart, but as these things split, and you'll notice that I hit the wrong one and it just split into even more, that's gonna get a little bit difficult. The slime also slows us down, and that unfortunately proves to be our demise. So, you only get one hit, and basically anything will kill you in one hit, so the game is very much based on mobility. And that's complicated by the fact that you can't move while shooting your arrow. You can't even, like, slowly strafe. You are locked in place as long as you are pulling that thing back, or pulling the string back, or pulling the arrow back to you, which, if you hold the fire button when you're not holding the arrow, that's what it does. So, back to this Titan. The first important fact to realize is that hitting the other things will only ever make your life harder. I really like that this is kind of designed to be the very first boss that you see, exactly because it teaches you the lesson. Like, in most games, you would be like, okay, if I shoot those other ones enough, they'll go away, right? This game, they don't. The only thing worth shooting is that giant heart. And with that, we've beaten our first Titan. And it only killed us once. Not too bad. Here we're treated to a nice little cutscene. You'll get used to this. Shaky cam and all that. And with that, all we have left is a shriveled little husk. Not too bad. The game really does well in building up its atmosphere and, like, playing with musical cues, the way that the music just stops completely when you beat a Titan and is gone for the rest of the time in that room. But so, there's also a fourth door up there, but let's do this in the quote-unquote intended order. So last time we took on a heart, I guess it's time to take on a brain. A frozen brain. Ow. So, that didn't go great, but I think we've learned a little something from this, haven't we? Always be on your toes. Always. In this game, there's things, because you only have one hit no matter what, anything can kill you. You always have to be ready, you always have to be planning your next move, and in a lot of boss fights, ow, the first thing that you want to do is survive, because it can be hard to even learn anything if you don't. That's unfortunate. By the way, the walls there are broken. This whole place is kind of messed up, but you can actually explore a very large portion of the places that you can see in this game, which is a neat touch. So yeah, like I was saying, move. Stay out of the way. The game actually makes this a really interesting system because if you hold the run button, you will run faster, but your roll is much faster than your run in the first place. However, once you start running, or once you roll, you actually have a short cooldown where you can't roll again. Also, sometimes I can't aim arrows very well. Whoops. I hope that this Titan is fairly self-evident at this point. It can hit those flame switches and I can miss, or make that fire come up. And I can miss it over and over because I'm very bad at video games. Just kidding, I'm really good. Alright, now that it's out of the ice, I get the feeling we can give it a nice little poke. There we go. The arrow sticks in and quivers. It's really kind of freaky. But I like it for that. This whole game just ridiculously consistent about atmosphere, about like everything they put in seems to be like for a reason, and so whenever you see little artistic touches, you can kind of assume they were there. Like the fact that you can see our hero's breath here, which is a neat touch. It's probably very cold in this room. There's a lot of little things like that, and I like it. Alright. So, up here there's another door, but I think let's do this one first. There's kind of, it feels like there's an intended order here. That said, you can take these on in any order you want. The game won't stop you. Ah, there we go. Oh, okay. Well, the weak spot's fairly obvious, but we're going to have to... There we... Oh, well. Alright, so it looks like it's stunned for a few seconds, and... Ow. That was unfortunate. I'm trying. Alright, let's try this again. And real quick, if you're wondering why those two doors are closed, it's because I had to refight this, because I kind of killed it too quickly the first time to even show off that it, like, gets stunned briefly if it pops itself up in the air. So, the key to this fight is the fact that we really determine this boss's behavior completely. So, we want to try to kite it into either just giving us an open shot, or making it do that. With almost every single boss in the game, and this is really what makes me love it the most, you can... They follow behaviors that are vaguely animalistic, like a lot of fighting bosses in this game is really just learning how to understand them. And I think it does so much with that, especially with such simple mechanics. Like, all three of these bosses, you kind of understood what you were supposed to do, quick fade. Now we're back into the original recording. But you have to kind of, like, watch them for a little bit the first time you fight them to actually figure out how to like, get at that weakness that you see. Anyway, with all of those skills put together, I think we're ready to take on this guy. Ah! You'll notice there are little name scrolls down at the bottom that we really can't read. That's the Titan language, and unfortunately we have no clue what it says, so I guess we'll have to worry about that later. Alright, so once again, we've got a glowing weak spot, and it seems he can protect it, but not when his hands are flipping. That said, he doesn't really seem to, have much of a pattern to... Oh, stop that. All the bosses will, like, continue to attack you, and I think it's something that they may have done by accident, but that left in the game because it leaves such a powerful image. These Titans just beat you to shit. They won't start the fight, though. I mean, we've attacked pretty much all of these things. Hell, we can, like, bump into his hands, and he still doesn't really mind. But let's get this going. Alright. So there must be something we can do. Make him switch his hands over. Wait a minute. It turns out he moves his hands depending on what side of the thing you're on, so getting them to switch hands is basically a matter of... damn it. Is basically a matter of running from side to side. This was really the moment that sold me on this game the first time I played it, because I had fought him, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and been like, alright, how do I do this? Like, I was trying to see, does he hit, like, 3 times at first and then move to the other hand? Does he do this? Does he do that? I was coming up with so many, like, strategies for how he would have behaved in my head, and I found I could hide in the door and realized he was only attacking me with one hand, and it suddenly dawned on me when I popped from side to side, and it was like, oh my god, this thing is actually acting completely differently than what I would have expected it to, and I just, like, that was actually the moment that we got a little abridged there, but when I really was like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this game. And on that note, let's make our way up here. Beating those 4 bosses seems to have opened up this big door. Leads into a temple. It's definitely not in very good condition. Honestly, nothing is. That giant was pretty beat up too. Oh well. At least the pretty artwork's intact. Bow, the arrow, the guy, and a strange eye that seems to be popping up quite a bit. Beating the tutorial, and that was just the tutorial, lets us out into the main world. The overworld theme is fantastic, so just let go for a bit. And yet, we were immediately faced with another door. Can't really open that eye, so I get the feeling we're gonna have to find a few more Titans. It looks like that one counted for 1, so next time we're gonna go on a Titan hunt. See you guys later. Hope you enjoyed.